Good evening. Right now, Metro Police are desperately searching for the person or people responsible for killing a man and a woman.
I got a male down in Village Street.
Breaking news now, a triple shooting leaves 2 dead.
Never expect for somebody to tell you your loved one was murdered.
This Labor Day will mark 42 years that have haunted the St. Cloud family.
30 years. 30 years this family has waited for answers.
A couple months go by, 3, 4, 5, 6, and you really start to struggle with the idea that the case might not get solved and that somebody might get away with murder.
It's very unfortunate that we have any cold cases at all, and certainly unfortunate that we have as many as we do. And that's why Ryan's work and the work of Project Cold Case is so important.
Good afternoon. Thanks for joining me today on Giving Tuesday. I'm Ryan Backman, founder and executive director of Project Cold Case. Sorry we're getting a late start today. Almost 3 hours behind our normal Facebook Live, but for good reason. I'll fill you in on why I couldn't get out here in front of the camera till now in just a little bit. But today, if you have been on social media at all, I'm sure you have seen hashtag Giving Tuesday as all over your news feed. Hopefully, it is a Giving Tuesday was started a few years ago, I think in 2012, so 7 years ago, with a simple idea that it was a day that encourages people to do good. And to do one of the ways you can do good is to make donations to charities and organizations that serve our communities, that help people that are sick, help people in need, help veterans, help victims. There's obviously a wide array of causes out there that are important to people and that people can contribute to. And after Black Friday and Small Business Saturday and Cyber Monday, why not have a Giving Tuesday where people can donate to their favorite charities or their causes that are most important to them? And we have started a Giving Tuesday fundraiser on Facebook for Project Cold Case. We have asked that anybody that has the means and the desire, if they're looking for a charity to donate to, that they consider us. We've already, I think we're about halfway to our goal already for Giving Tuesday. Clint, pull that up. Let's see. We'll show everybody. There's the Giving Tuesday fundraiser that is on Project Cold Case's Facebook page. We've started today. Early this morning, Facebook was going to match donations up to $7 million. And because Facebook is such a huge platform, that money was donated in like the first 20 minutes. So they started at 8 o'clock this morning, and pretty much within half an hour, they had matched $7 million worth of donations across the Facebook platform. So we won't know if we got a piece of that pie probably for a few more days or a week or so. But that's what we're doing. We've already had a number of donations. We appreciate the Welch family, Mr. Welch, one of our families that we've helped out over the years. It's been so good to us. Has helped out. We've talked about him. We talked about his case. We've went and visited with him when I was up in Norfolk a couple of weeks ago. So, who else is donating? We got Mr. Welch, Trevor, Reg Bailey, a good friend from across the pond has donated. Helen and Jim Williams have donated. Thank you guys. Christine Allman, my good friends. I don't know if I should say the other name because she didn't really want to be known, but thank you. You know who you are. Patty, our old advocate, board member, and survivor family. Thank you. Derek Charles, who is one of the more active participants on our Facebook page, constantly sharing what we do, liking what we do, commenting what we do. We really appreciate his support. And he's often sharing cases that have a known offender, but who has not been caught yet. And he's sharing those cases in hopes of somebody will be able to recognize those offenders and get them in custody. Addie Roberts, Shanna McGee, another good close family friend, Marilyn Young, Michelle Cook, the chief of police out in Atlantic Beach and former director at the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office, supporting Project Cold Case today. We really appreciate that, Chief Cook. Thank you so much. Sharon Buckman, my brother-in-law, Johnny Plaxco, helping out and supporting. Thanks, Johnny. We appreciate you too. Birdie, Berta Shaw, appreciate your support. Thanks to everybody that has, I think Kim and David Billingsley, I think we're on there from this morning donating. Really appreciate all the support you guys give us, not just today, but throughout the year. It means a lot to us. We're able to do some things, with that, with those kinds of funding that are not really earmarked for anything specific. We talked before about how our grant allows for our funding for very specific items, and all of those have to be reserved for Florida cases. So anything that happens outside of the state of Florida is not covered by any of our grant funding. And I just wanted to kind of give a little idea about some good things that have been happening in the Project Cold Case world. We recently had somebody comment on one of our photos. As you guys know, we share these images. When a family submits a case to us, we'll share those images the first week that we have them. Once we vet the case and make sure that it fits our criteria, we'll share it on social media. Then we also put it on our webpage, and then that kind of starts the ball rolling of the services we provide. This case of Patricia Moore, who was a little girl that was killed in Clifton, Virginia in 1970, we posted back in, I think July is when that post went live, and somebody just last week commented on it that they have information on the case and wanting to know who to reach out to. So we have been trying to facilitate that to make sure that whatever information that individual has is provided to law enforcement, and hopefully that it's information that law enforcement didn't have in the past, and might lead to a resolution. So it's always good to know that these cases are actually reaching people with information, and that some of them are at least initially willing to come forward. So hopefully that will move along even more, and find some kind of resolution to that case. We'll see. We've also had, if you've been watching our Facebook page, DNA Labs International has been doing a opt-in campaign. There's nothing simple or easy about genetic genealogy, which is the new tool law enforcement is using to help resolve old cold cases where they have DNA evidence, physical evidence. But kind of the breakdown is, if somebody out there orders a 23andMe or Ancestry.com Ancestry DNA kit for their home, they submit a sample of their DNA to that company. They provide you with your heritage information, some genetic markers, and some insight into your genes. And then those individuals who have done that through the private lab, they're given their raw DNA analysis, and they can themselves upload that information to public DNA ancestry databases. The GEDmatch you hear on with the media a lot, and the other one is Family Tree and Me, I think. And so DNA Labs International has been doing an opt-in campaign, because on GEDmatch you have to physically say that you want your DNA to be accessible by law enforcement to help resolve these crimes. Originally, they were being used by law enforcement, and everybody was, once it was found out that law enforcement was using this technology, GEDmatch opted everybody in so that everybody's DNA was accessible, but they had some pushback from some privacy people that were concerned about privacy, so they opted everybody out. When they opted everybody out, a large number of potential cold cases and violent crimes that could have been solved were no longer accessible to law enforcement. So there's been a big campaign to opt in on GEDmatch. With the other service, you can just upload your information, and you're automatically opted in on the law enforcement side for the Family Tree and Me. So that's kind of been the push. We provided the pictures that DNA Labs is using for their opt-in campaign. So you see the hashtag, the DNA opt-in letters are all infilled with images from victims that have submitted their families have submitted their loved one's case to us, and they are now they're kind of featuring in their newsletter each week. They'll highlight one of the pictures, from there to show that that these are the cases that could be solved. So we're really excited about their opt-in campaign. And then as another, DNA Labs International is just a lab. They're not just a lab. They do a lot of stuff, but they are an actual physical lab, and they actually have a genealogy department. But another brand new genealogy company that has come out is Innovative Forensic DNA. And they literally just launched a press release today announcing the start of their business. We have partnered with them in a number of different facets, including they are our first corporate sponsor for our upcoming Year of Hope event in January, on January 25th here in Jacksonville, Florida. They're going to be a corporate sponsor for us. I don't want to give too much away, but let's just say they're going to be doing something really cool at our event. Physically, they're coming into town. They're based out of Virginia, but they're going to come into town for this event, and they're going to do something that's pretty cool that we will talk about before the event, but not going to let the cat out of the bag just yet. We still have some work to do and some finalizing some information, but Innovative Forensic DNA, they're a new genetic genealogy company. They're former Parabon employees that have branched out on their own. They're focused on assisting law enforcement and solving cold cases, violent crimes, unidentified remains, missing persons, live notifications, living notifications, and human trafficking. So they're a very important part of this wheel to help solve crimes, and you'll be hearing a lot more about them in the coming weeks. And I'm looking forward to being able to share some of the ideas we have for our event in January, which they'll be a part of. So if you are in or around the Jacksonville area on January 25th, don't forget our Year of Hope event. We have an event page, event set up on our Facebook page, so you can check out all the details there. You can also go to projectcoldcase.org/Year of Hope and get caught up on everything that will be going on soon, including some of the auction items we'll have, some of the attendees we'll have, and some of the goings on that we'll have. Two other things that have happened recently that I just want to share with people that that watch these Facebook Lives and keep up with the stuff going on here at Project Cold Case. Yesterday, I was out of the office most of the day. I drove to Tallahassee, where I had a meeting with the Alachua County Sheriff Sadie Darnell and Bay County Sheriff Tommy Ford, along with FDLE Commissioner Rick Swearingen and a number of other important people with FDLE. And we're working on some statewide cold case initiatives, and it was really good to be in a room with a couple of very important sheriffs that are committed to cold cases in our state and Florida and beyond, and they're setting a tone that I think will resonate throughout the state and will excite a lot of families and a lot of other law enforcement agencies. So I can't get into too much details, but just know that sometimes behind the scenes there's work being done. Again, two sheriffs, the commissioner for FDLE, a number of important people, all sitting together with a focus on cold cases yesterday in Tallahassee. It was a good meeting, a productive meeting, and one that hopefully will reflect some changes and give some hope, some new hope to cold case families all over the state. And the reason why I was late getting started today, everybody that watches these regularly knows that we participated in the Southeastern Homicide Investigators Association annual conference in Norfolk, Virginia, a couple of weeks ago, and met with a lot of amazing people, watched a lot of really great presentations and case studies. And last week, I got an email from Detective Eric Barnes, who works for the Dallas Police Department, and we had, crossed paths in Norfolk. He presented a case while in Norfolk, the Kendra Hatcher case, which was just heartbreaking case about a pediatric dentist. This young woman's a pediatric dentist in a poor section of town, helping families in her community. She gets out of her car in the parking garage at her apartment complex in her house and is robbed and shot and killed. And it turns out to be masterminded by the ex-girlfriend of Kendra's boyfriend at the time. She hired two people to kill Kendra out of just pure jealousy, and it was a very complicated case because the mastermind really went to all lengths to try to hide from her involvement, including fleeing to Mexico once investigators were onto her. So Eric reached out to me, Detective Barnes reached out to me last week, and he said, "Hey, Ryan, I'm going to be in Jacksonville on Tuesday. I've got a limited window here where maybe we could meet and chat, and I'd love to come by and see the office. Would that be okay with you?" And so, never turned down an opportunity to meet with a law enforcement officer and a detective committed to cold cases and homicides. And so he was here for the last few hours. We hung out, really got to talk a lot and share a lot of stories. Just an amazing individual, obviously a good detective. And one that I'm excited to work with, moving forward and seeing how we can help him and the families in Dallas that he's working so hard to resolve cases for. So it was really, really cool to have him come in here today and spend some time with us. And so we figure if there's ever a reason, to start late and get a late jump on things, it's working hard behind the scenes on cold cases that excusable tardiness. So thanks for being patient with us, and know that it really was for a good reason that we got started late today. Again, today is more about Giving Tuesday. If you have the means to make a donation, visit our Facebook page, submit a donation through our fundraiser on Facebook, or through PayPal, or any means necessary if you have the funds. We sincerely appreciate it. If now's not a good time, it's the holidays, we understand. But in the future, if you're looking for a way to support Project Cold Case, you can create a Facebook fundraiser on your own. There's a number of individuals that have done that right now that we really appreciate. Lorena Inclan, who's on here with me, once a month talking about cases, that works for Action News Jax. She's got a fundraiser going for her birthday. She's trying to raise money for Project Cold Case. Katie Wiggins, you've seen us talk about her dad, Stephen Wiggins, who's a cold case victim here in Jacksonville. She's doing a fundraiser for Project Cold Case. You saw us do a Facebook Live on John Paul Stoner. His sister Siobhan is doing a fundraiser for us right now. Nancy Jo Canode was killed in 1981 in Ponte Vedra Beach, Florida. We've been doing a lot with her family, with her daughters, Cherie and Suzanne, and they've started a fundraiser for us. And we're just very grateful. The Facebook fundraisers actually donate 100% of the money to us. They don't take a cut. They don't keep a portion. So whatever you're donating, all of it comes to us. And it's a very humbling thank you that we get from families when they do something like that. And so we're super appreciative of it. We obviously don't charge for any of our services, and we don't want families to feel like they have to do anything like that for us to serve them and to help them in any way that we can. But it is obviously very appreciated when they do something like that. So thank you all for contributing to Project Cold Case, for sharing the stories that we share, for commenting and engaging in the post. We reached 100,000 people in the last month on Facebook alone, and that means that we're gonna reach somebody that has information on a case, and that's kind of proof with the Patricia Moore comment that we got on her picture the other day, and we track all this information. We're very diligent about when we post, why we post, what we post, and that's starting to pay off. And we're starting to reach six-figure numbers that will allow us to hopefully find that one person that has information on a case and helps resolve it. So and that's only possible because of the engagement of our supporters. So we thank you for that. We're going to do our remembrances. We're going to do remembrances first. We're going to do remembrances for this week. And then we're going to transition. We have so many new followers and likes on Facebook that some people may not have seen our promo video about what we do and who we help and how we help. So after the remembrances, we're going to play that. And if anybody has questions on, what the organization is and what services we provide, that should help. And again, we're trying to raise money here on Giving Tuesday. If you have the means and the time, please check out our fundraising Facebook page and make a donation. Any amount doesn't matter. It's the thought that counts, and it's much appreciated. So thank you for joining me today. I hope you all had a wonderful Thanksgiving, as good as possible. We will be back next week with another Facebook Live, and we hope to hear from you and other ways that we can serve the community and help these families. So thanks a lot. We'll see you next week.
So, my dad was kind of the life of the party and everybody's friend.
BJ was the kind of child that left an impression on anybody he met.
Carrie was very funny. She was the little jokester, and she had a great sense of humor, and she had a huge smile. We were notified that she was brutally murdered. And, it's your whole world comes crashing down on you.
It's 10 years later, and BJ's homicide is still unsolved.
My dad worked construction and was literally vacuuming up drywall dust when somebody saw him in there by himself, walked in, shot him in the back, and took his wallet and then left. There were no witnesses other than my dad, and he actually spent the last few minutes of his life on the phone with a 911 operator trying to describe the man that had just shot him. And so you think that the case is going to be solved really quickly. A couple months go by, 3, 4, 5, 6, and you really start to, kind of struggle with the idea that that the case might not get solved, and that somebody might get away with murder.
Cases can grow cold very quickly. If a murder case is not solved within really the first 36 hours, immediately and drastically the chances of solving it decline rapidly.
That's a lot of killers that are still out there that are able to do this to other people. And that really kind of got the wheels turning about an organization that focused on unsolved cases.
It's very unfortunate that we have any cold cases at all, and certainly unfortunate that we have as many as we do. And that's why Ryan's work and the work of Project Cold Case is so important.
When I first started the organization, I just wanted to be able to publicize cases that had not been in the public eye for, years sometimes, and decades, some of them. And all I wanted was the family to be able to know that someone else cared. If you send me a case, I will put your loved one's picture on my website, and it will be there forever. So then we started publicizing the cases with social media.
Social media is incredible technology available to law enforcement and to us, and it wasn't available a decade ago. And it can help to both generate interest, discussion, and leads.
We've had examples recently where technology has improved and where forensic evidence didn't provide us anything 10, 20, 30 years ago. Today it can.
It really works out nice that as technology changes that we can go back and look at evidence in cases and try to rerun some of the evidence.
What started as send us your pictures has turned into spotlights and billboards and meetings with family members and support groups and meeting with law enforcement.
He's able to connect with the detectives. He's able to review police reports. He's able to connect with the prosecutors. He's able to keep the drumbeat going.
As the cases started coming in more and more from all over the country, we realized that we're limited by funding and what we can do. Every single person out there can help us. And that can be in a lot of different ways. It can be liking and sharing things on social media. It can be volunteering with us. And if they have the means, it can be donating to our cause.
I see a lot of things for Project Cold Case in the future. Yeah, Ryan has carved out a niche that I don't believe exists anywhere.
Just the attention that Project Cold Case brings to these cold cases, that's going to help us long term to be successful. And again, not only in Jacksonville, again, that model will travel around the country. And it's all about community partnerships, which you hear a lot in law enforcement nationwide. And there's no better example of this than Project Cold Case.
He's given us so much hope, and I love him for it.
It's my daughter, and I can't give up. I will never give up. I have to be her voice. She's not here. No one can stand up for her.
An arrest in my dad's case doesn't bring my dad back. It's not going to fill that hole in my heart. But what it will do is it will guarantee that he can't do this to someone else. And so that's my battle now. My fight is not to let these people hurt others like they've hurt me and Patty and Margie and so many other individuals.